Hello guys and welcome back to Premier League predictions. We are back predicting the top flight of English football, and Sophie, it is now the penultimate week.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely flown by. I don't want it to end, but I know the end is nigh.
I know, it's nearly the end of the season, so let's go for a big like target. What are we saying?
4,100?
4,100. Let's do it. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, and it's not too late to subscribe. Look how close we are to 100,000. You can make our dream come true by hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for your support this season. Sophie, the scores in the Premier League predictions last time, you did just beat me, so you've closed the gap a little bit. You could still catch me. There's 2 weeks to go, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's less embarrassing now, the difference, so I'll take that.
You'll settle for, just getting a couple of consolations.
Exactly, yeah.
Obviously, Coventry City won't be joining the Premier League next season. Myself and Sophie are absolutely gutted because we lost in the last minute to Sunderland last night in the playoffs. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get into the predictions for this time, Sophie. We have got 10 games coming at you and the FA Cup final as well. We start, Sophie, on Friday night as Aston Villa take on Tottenham. Now, in most seasons recently, this would be a good game. I just think this is a very one-sided fixture, Sophie. Yeah. Do bear in mind Tottenham will be in preparation mode because on Wednesday next week they are playing Manchester United in the Europa League. Now, you could say that they might want to put out some of their better players because they want a bit of momentum and game time in their legs, but I think don't risk any injuries.
Exactly.
Because Tottenham have suffered with a lot of injuries this season and they don't want any more. Their whole season hinges on that Europa League final, and Tottenham and Manchester United fans, look out for the Europa League predictions coming at the weekend. Myself and Sophie are both doing that video. As for this game, I'm going to back Villa. Villa, what a win. Yeah. What a win against Bournemouth. Yeah. Really crucial that. And if they win their final two games, which are funnily enough against Tottenham and Man United, they might make Champions League. I'm going to go 2-0 to Villa.
Yeah, I think this could be a very one-sided game, to be honest. I do fancy Villa more at home. I wasn't expecting them to get the win on the road against Bournemouth. I thought that was very, very good. So I think they're going to back it up with another win. I do think that Spurs are going to rest a few players because all eyes are on that Europa final. I mean, look at where they are in the Premier League right now. Both them and Man United. Premier League is embarrassing. But should either of them win the Europa League, which obviously one has to, that is saving something from the season. So all eyes on that. But right now, one-sided game. Villa 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go. Rubbing salt in those Tottenham wounds. Do share your thoughts down below. The next game, Sophie, is between Chelsea and Manchester United, and it's already very similar to the last game where you've got one team that are going for the Champions League, which is Chelsea, and Man United, who are having a rubbish season, but all their focus is on the Europa League final. Exactly. Man United, of course, lost to West Ham at home last time, and the pressure is building on Amorim. If they don't win the Europa League, then I don't know what's going to happen. They could finish 17th as well, which is just horrendous for a club the size of Manchester United. Chelsea could do with the win, to secure a top 5 place. They do play Nottingham Forest on the final day. I'm going to go Chelsea 1-0.
Yeah, I might go Chelsea 2-1, so same deficit, but I do fancy Chelsea to do it. I think similarly to what I just said about Spurs, I think Man United, they're not going to go all out in this one. I think all eyes have to be on the Europa final, and it's only going to benefit Chelsea, to be fair. Doesn't mean I think Chelsea are going to put in like a really, really good performance, because I think some of their players, they'll be without Jackson as well, actually, because he got a red on the weekend. But I think some of their players have underperformed this season, and as a group at times they've looked all right and then at times they've looked very disjointed, which they have got some really good players, it's just not clicking. So I do fancy them to get over the line against Man United, to be honest, just because it's Man United this season, so really they should be winning it. So 2-1 Chelsea. Yeah,
you're right. But Manchester United fans, as I say, do look out for the Europa League final prediction that myself and Sophie will do this weekend. That is where your season is determined, really, if it's a good one or a bad one. Well, it's not really a good one.
It's still pretty bad, really.
Right, on to the next one, Sophie. It is the final game at Goodison Park for Everton's men, because I believe the Everton women are going to be playing there. Do you know what, Sophie? I've never been to Goodison Park.
I've not.
I really wish I had the opportunity. I suppose
you can watch women's
I can go and watch the women.
Exactly.
But it's a shame I won't be able to ever see the men play there, of course. A historic ground which has seen so much success over the years, and I tell you what, Everton got a great win last week away at Fulham, and I want them to go out with a bang. You know,
I think all football fans, bar the Liverpool fans, would probably want Everton to go out on a high here.
Or maybe the Southampton fans. They don't want to get smashed to pieces.
No.
But I tell you what, Southampton, Sophie, last week, 0-0 against Man City.
Yeah, well, we all saw the Ruben Diaz interview after where he's criticised them. And yeah, I mean, that is very salty. Let's be honest, you compare the two squads. Obviously, Southampton are not going to turn up, play open football. They'll get punished. So they got something from that game. Give them some credit.
Yeah, that is so bitter and unprofessional from Ruben Diaz.
Yeah.
It is. You know what? Credit to Southampton. They've got to 12 points. I know it's not a great achievement, but look, come on. Like, big picture, it's a good draw, really. It was a good draw.
Yeah.
However, I'm sorry, Southampton. I really want Everton to go out with a bang. And you know, sometimes when teams leave their ground and move to a new one, you can get really crazy games. Coventry's last game at the Highfield Road was 6-2 against Derby. I remember West Ham's final game at Upton Park. They beat Man United 3-2. I'm going to go for some fun here, Sophie. I'm really sorry, Southampton, but Everton 6-1.
6-1, God, can you imagine if that comes in? I did it the other day, actually.
Do you know what?
So
have some fun. There's nothing on the line. Everton don't have anything to play for, neither do Southampton.
Yeah.
David Moyes, let them go out, play free-flowing football and get a big win to go out with a high.
I would love to see that, to be fair. I love seeing goals. I'm going to throw a few goals in there, but I'm not going as crazy as yours. I'm going to say 3-0 Everton, just because I feel like David Moyes would just say to him, it's your last game. It's your last game here, go and have some fun. Obviously, Southampton are going to turn up, probably sit back, do a little bit like they did against Man City to try and get another point on the board. But I'm hoping, as a neutral, that Everton get it done, so 3-0.
3-0. There you go. We are backing you, Toffees. Let us know your thoughts down below. Let's see if Southampton can stop them and park the bus again, eh? On to the next one, Sophie. We go to the London Stadium. West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. Sophie, the pressure is on Forest to go and get a win if they're going to make top 5 or top 6 now, because they've fallen to 7th. Obviously, big picture, they've done so well this season. They have dropped off a little bit. Obviously, there's a culmination of reasons. They have had a few injuries, of course. But to only draw with Leicester wasn't great.
No idea.
I really want them to win this, though, and take it to the final day. And if we get a Nottingham Forest-Chelsea shootout at the City Ground, that could be brilliant.
Spicy, yeah.
However, it might not be straightforward. West Ham will have positivity because they won for the first time in about 9 games. They went and won at Man United, and it was
not won there in like years as well.
It was a good win though as well.
Yeah.
West Ham 1, Forest 2. I think Forest might be able to turn up and just take this to the final day.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do, just for the interest on the final day. But I've just got a feeling a draw's going to play out, you know. I think West Ham are more than capable of holding Forest to a draw, which is going to be very, very frustrating for the Forest fans because really they do need the 3 points and the win. But I just see it being a really frustrating one. 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, that won't be great for Forest, will it?
No, they don't want that at all.
They are guaranteed to get some European football.
But not Champions League.
There you go. And Sophie, before we move on to the next game, actually, we do want to wish Awonyi a speedy recovery.
Yeah, I mean, that was dreadful. I know it's in the rules to allow play to continue, but they've got to reassess that now because the poor bloke's gone flying into that post, currently in a medically induced coma. It's serious, serious stuff. So hopefully it's a quick recovery for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Sophie, we move on to West London where Brentford take on Fulham. 2 teams which I always have fun trying to separate. It's quite a difficult one, this. Yeah. Fulham, as we touched on, Sophie, they lost at home to Everton last time. Not the best result for them. Brentford, on the other hand, went and won 1-0 at Ipswich. A decent win for them. They're ending the season well, and they could be the best of the rest, I guess, if they finish in 8th place. And I tell you what, I think it's still possible, depending on what happens in the FA Cup. I believe it's still possible. 8th place could get European football. Maybe smarten me up in the comments down below if I'm incorrect on that, but I think that's the case. Anyway, what is my prediction? Brentford have actually impressed me a bit more recently, and they got the home advantage. Let's go Brentford 2, Fulham 1.
Yeah, I'm going for the exact same, 2-1 Brentford. I love watching Brentford play, to be honest. It is usually quite entertaining.
And you highlighted Sharda last time and he scored.
He's so good. Yeah, because if it's not in Mbeumo or Visa, it's Sharda. People don't mention him at all. It's really weird.
All 3 of them have double figures for goals this season.
Yeah. They're like one of the only teams in Europe to have that as well. So yeah, very, very good players, very good attacking players, and I like watching them. I think they're going to get the win again, 2-1.
2-1, there you go. Right, Sophie, let's move on to the King Power as Leicester City take on Ipswich Town. It will be a championship match next season. Of course, they've both been relegated, and you know, I am a bit frustrated with these two, because if either of them had been a bit better this season, or even both of them, we could have
dragged in Man United and Spurs.
Man United and Tottenham in the Championship. Well done, you two. What do I think is going to happen? Well, if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I'd have probably gone with Ipswich, but I think Leicester have improved.
Since getting relegated, like confirmed relegated, and they're like, oh right, we'll play now, which is really strange, but they have been playing a little bit better.
Well, when they lost to Liverpool, they gave it a go. They beat Southampton, and they've gone and drawn at Forest, and Forest had more to play for. Leicester have the home advantage. I think they might win this and possibly finish in 18th, just ahead of Ipswich, actually.
Okay.
2-1.
I'm going to say 2-2. I think there could be a few more goals as well. Obviously, you've already touched on the fact that it is going to be a championship matchup next season. Will be interesting to see what players will still be there. I think Vardy's looking like he's off for Leicester, and also Delap for Ipswich looks like he's going to Man United. So, I mean, if they invest that money well, I think they'll have a really good season next season, but we'll see. Right now, I just think it could be a fun 2-2. They've both not really got anything to play for, so surely you're not going to sit back in this one, you just have fun. I'm hoping anyway, 2-2.
Desmond.
Yeah.
We like a Desmond. Share your thoughts down below, guys. Let's move on to the Emirates, Sophie. Arsenal versus Newcastle. This is a really good matchup, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. The winner will be guaranteed Champions League football pretty much, or a draw could be enough for Arsenal. However, the team that loses this game is in jeopardy of being caught on the final day. I still think they're both going to make it though. I think on the final day, Arsenal are away at Southampton and Newcastle are at home to Everton. So you'd imagine they might both win those games.
Really.
As for this one, I'm quite encouraged by Arsenal's fight back at Liverpool, even though Liverpool are not quite at full tilt at the minute.
They're off partying in Ibiza at the moment, while the coaching staff are. The players are in Dubai.
It's a good fight back, and then obviously they had 10 men towards the end. Newcastle, Sophie, good win against Chelsea.
Very good,
so I'm going to go down the middle here and say 1-1.
I do fancy Newcastle more at home. Oh, this is really tricky. I don't want to go for a draw though. I want to pick a winner, but it just depends. Like, if it's the Arsenal that turn up that they did first half against Liverpool, I think it could be like 3-0 in the first half to Newcastle, just because I thought they were very, very poor. Second half, completely different teams, so it depends which team turns up. They both are going to be up for this because they want to finish as high as they can in the table for Champions League football, but obviously Arsenal want to finish in second place after being in that title race for so long. Do you know what? Let's spice it up. 2-1 to the Geordies. Yeah, I think they'll do it.
Goodness me, the Arsenal fans are not going to be happy.
Hate me.
It is still possible, Sophie. Arsenal could finish 6th.
Oh, that won't happen, to be fair. I will say that. I don't see that happening.
I don't think that'll happen, but it's a possibility with 2 games to go.
God, could you imagine?
That would be unbelievable.
Arteta's interviews. Whew.
Right, share your thoughts down below. Good luck to both Arsenal and Newcastle. I think we both expect them to be in the Champions League.
Yes, yeah, we'll say that now.
Right, on to the next one, Sophie. Brighton take on partying Liverpool. Sophie, Liverpool are a bit difficult to predict now because they've won the Premier League. I don't know how... I don't want to say they're not taking it seriously, but there is some rotation.
Okay, they're not really, I'll say it. They're not really taking it seriously, are they? Because they're partying.
They're professional, Sophie. They are taking it serious, but there's not as much on the line.
Well, there's nothing on the line, and that's why I don't blame them for partying. I think they'll be more refreshed going into the season because they're already partying now. They'll turn up, and I don't think they'll get absolutely demolished like 5 or 6-0, but I do actually see them losing this one.
Yeah, I don't think they'll win. Liverpool fans do share your thoughts, but I fancy Brighton to... I'll go for a draw. Okay. I think Brighton and Liverpool, decent matchup. Let's go 2-2.
I gave my game away that I'm going for a Brighton win. I'm going to say 2-1, just because, as I've said, I still do think Liverpool will turn up to a degree, but it very much doesn't matter now if they get the win or not. They've had a very, very good season. They've wrapped up the league early on, so they're there partying. As I said, I don't blame them. But do I think that they're then going to turn up and put in 100% and be the best Liverpool we've seen against Brighton? No, I don't. And that's why I see Brighton winning 2-1.
2-1. Okay, do share your thoughts down below. We've got a Brighton win and a draw. Sophie, we have the 2 games on the Tuesday now we're going to predict. We do have the FA Cup final at the weekend we're going to predict as well in a second. Let's start with Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Great matchup because it's 2 form teams. I don't think there's a lot to separate them. I guess Wolves have dropped a tiny bit now. I mean, they lost to Brighton, but the difficult thing is, Sophie, this will be after the FA Cup final. If Palace have won, I mean, will they be partying?
They might be doing a Liverpool.
Will they want to keep pushing? I don't know. Or if they lose, do they want to bounce back? I just think I'm going to play it safe and go down the middle for this.
Okay.
Maybe Palace slight favourites, but I think Wolves have ended the season pretty well with Pereira. 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, Wolves have had, in the end, a pretty good season, to be honest, because there was points where you thought, oh, they could well be going down. But
I mean, but both of them started the season slow, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, to be fair. But do I make Palace slight favourites? I probably do. They're the home side, and I mean, both of them have good attacking threat, but I just think that Palace have the slightly better attacking players, and I'm going to edge them 1-0. I think it could be a low scoring one, but I fancy Palace to break the deadlock, so 1-0 Palace.
1-0. Palace fans, stay tuned. We've got the FA Cup final prediction coming in just a second. The other game on Tuesday night, Sophie, is between Manchester City and Bournemouth. Man City, Sophie, they're in a race for the Champions League. They could really do with securing a result here, preferably a win. Bournemouth are a tricky one. You know, they went away to Arsenal and won, but they did just lose at home to Aston Villa. I think it'd be close. It's never easy against Bournemouth, but I will just back City 1-0.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be a bit of a reaction after the Southampton game. What probably will work in their favour is that Bournemouth will be more open than Southampton, so they'll have more chances to actually score. But I do like Bournemouth, I say it all the time, and I do think they carry that good attacking threat, and they're pretty good defensively as well, so I don't see it being a big scoreline. So I'm just going to edge Man City 1-0.
Oh, same as me. Yeah, both got Man City. And Man City fans, do not go anywhere because you are up next. Sophie, it is the FA Cup final. Manchester City versus Crystal Palace. It's kind of what the FA Cup's all about because you sometimes get these finals where there's one of the favourites versus one of the underdogs. And I don't know, it doesn't seem impossible to me to see Palace winning this.
No.
Remember, they've never won the FA Cup. They've been to the final a few times, but they've never actually got their hands on that trophy. For Manchester City, Sophie, of course, it's not been a great season, but they've recovered. If they get in the Champions League and win the FA Cup, it's actually a pretty decent end to the season.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? I'll let you go first for the prediction on the FA Cup final.
Okay, so I'm thinking, with my head, Man City. They've got the experience. They're a very, very good team. Yeah, if they were to get a goal early on like they did in the semi-final, then I think they just have to sit back on that. And then, obviously, I do fancy them to see it out. But my heart is saying Crystal Palace. They've never won the FA Cup. They've got there, and they've got there in style as well, because the way they beat Aston Villa, I was very, very impressed by that performance. And I think if that team turns up in the final, I think they could do it. So, head's saying Man City, heart is saying Palace. I'm going to go with my heart. 2-1 Palace. Whether that's in 90 or extra time as well, I don't know, but I don't see it going to penalties.
Sophie's feeling glad all over. Yes, she's. Do I go for the blue moon, though, to make things interesting? I think one of us have got to back Man City. I will be bad cop.
Well, they're the favourites, aren't they? So, go on.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Palace have had an incredible run where they've had to overcome Aston Villa. They've had to get past Millwall when they were trying to chop off Mateta's head.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like they've had an incredible run. They've battled through adversity, and I think they'll give it a go. But I just think Man City might do it. And I'm sorry. I agree. For me, as a neutral, I'd rather Palace win. Yeah. And sorry to say that, Man City fans, but you can understand, as a neutral, we want the underdog to win. But I will go with City 2-1. I just think the quality and the experience in these big games might be enough. So there you have it. That wraps it up. That is our Premier League predictions for game week 37 and the FA Cup final all wrapped up. Guys, get involved. Let us know your predictions down in the comments. Drop a like if you haven't already and subscribe. Go on. We can do it. 100k before the end of this season. We can do it. Like, subscribe, predict. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week for the final week of predictions. Take care. Peace out.